Good evening, you are watching ReNEWS in English. I am Sona Tumanyan. Monday's COP with a government session with 53 issues on the agenda. 50 of them are not reported. Also on the agenda is the issue of approving the list of beneficiaries of the state support program for housing provision for individual families forcibly displaced from Artsakh and defining the procedure for providing support. During the session, a decision was made to alienate state property. The building located in Yerevan with a cadastral value of 367 million rams will be alienated through a classic auction. The market value of the property was estimated at 425 million rams, which will be the starting price. And the Armenian Prime Minister's press conference following the session is already becoming a tradition. Even with great desire, neither I nor the Armenian government nor any Armenian government can abandon the issue of enclaves, exclaves, because we have Artsakh. This was stated by Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan during the government's August 28 press conference, referring to the fate of the enclaves, exclaves of Armenia and Azerbaijan. And I quote again, "We cannot give up Artsakh as part of the sovereign territory of the Republic of Armenia," Pashinyan said. Nikol Pashinyan also did not bypass the Armenian Apostolic Church and, of course, questions about the ongoing peace establishment process.
This is not a topic that just came up. This discourse has been discussed for quite a long time now, and specifically it's being discussed after the adoption of the law, meaning the draft law to start the process of the Republic of Armenia joining the European Union. And I have also stated, including on international platforms, that we understand that membership in the European Union and the Eurasian Economic Union at the same time is not possible. It's impossible. And when that point comes where the choice becomes final and inevitable, we will make the appropriate decision. As for your question of whether it is possible or not possible, if we are already announcing this at an official level, then it is possible. Any scenario is possible. It is also connected, among other things, to the will expressed by our people, and our current situations, and our negotiation processes, and with our analysis of the situation, opportunities, and alternatives, with our results and prospects.
No constitution was discussed in Washington, and we have no obligation to change our constitution before any third party, stated Foreign Minister Ararat Mirzoyan on public television. According to him, it was recorded in Washington that there is now peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan. The land through which the infrastructure will pass through the territory of Armenia will belong to Armenia, Mirzoyan said. The minister also emphasized that talks about 99 years currently have no connection with reality, and land ownership cannot be disputed. Ararat Mirzoyan also noted that there isn't a single meeting during which prisoners of war haven't been discussed. He also touched upon the so-called governance of the Trump trip.
I say so, but that doesn't correspond to reality. The Americans are not going to control it. To govern, no. I am saying any third party. In that section, in the section of the trip, control, any third party will not have control. The control, ensuring security, those are functions of the Republic of Armenia. And this is not disputed. And no other agreement has been reached on this.
The agenda for impeaching Nikol Pashinyan is still there, and questions about Robert Kocharyan should not be asked of him. The reference is to Serge Sargsyan. The third president of the Republic of Armenia also spoke about the ANA and Samvel Karapetyan. The details are in the report.
The third president spoke about negotiating from the position of a capitulator and the 5-year non-stop capitulation at the end of the court session on the case of the lands adjacent to the Yereblur Pantheon. After 2018, several criminal cases were initiated against Serge Sargsyan. For journalists, court sessions are an opportunity to ask questions to the former president, who rarely gives interviews, for example, in December 2020.
Artsakh will never be part of Azerbaijan.
By the way, the Secretary of the Security Council said the same thing in October 2021.
Artsakh will never be part of Azerbaijan.
This approach of the authorities has now changed because, according to them, the Artsakh movement is incompatible with peace.
Capitulation is not a one-time act, not a one-time action. If you look at the history of wars, you will see that capitulation is a continuous phenomenon.
Capitulation is something that is signed once. It is not possible to sign a capitulation 6 times. If we listen to our opponents, we have already signed a capitulation 5 or 6 times during this period, and it is not enough. We are preparing to sign new capitulations. This is already a sufficient analytical basis to record that the opposition partners speak this way because they have nothing to say. There is no other reason.
Serge Sargsyan proposes to start an impeachment process for the situation, accompanied by a street movement. This is now on the agenda of the HHK, Republican Party of Armenia. They're not even planning to participate in the 2026 elections yet. Their political force, according to the president of the Republicans, sees common ground with other opposition forces if they do not contradict their principles.
As for impeachment, we will continue. And who can exclude that there will be those who join? You know, President Roosevelt's wife is credited with the idea that it is better to light a candle than to eternally curse the darkness. That is, it is better to put one's signature than to eternally curse these authorities. It's a simple thing. Whoever doesn't understand that, that's their business.
Sargsyan also spoke about cooperation with Samvel Karapetyan's new force, telling how the businessman made investments in ECN, Electric Networks of Armenia, until 2018. And after that, he doesn't know.
I asked Samvel Karapetyan to acquire the electric networks of Armenia from another Russian company because the electric networks were indeed in a very bad state, and a person was needed who would show compassion, a person who would not pursue profit for a long time, but would make investments.
Meanwhile, for another fuel and energy transaction, purchasing from Flash, the court of first instance acquitted Serge Sargsyan last year. Now the court case is in appeal. The defense side says that this transaction was more economically convenient. There are several other cases related to corruption during his tenure, alienation of land, and other topics. By the way, the case of the lands adjacent to the Yereblur Pantheon itself is about 20 years old.
On August 27, Armenian Defense Minister Suren Papikyan met with reservists participating in 25-day training camps in Lori and Ararat regions. The head of the Defense Department followed the exercises, talked with the participants of the gatherings, and answered to their questions. At the end of the visit, Suren Papikyan thanked the heads of the responsible structures for properly organizing and conducting the training camps, as well as the reservists for their readiness and service. The U.S. military attaché Colonel Crow wished a safe journey to the servicemen of the new shift of the Armenian Peacekeeping Brigade preparing for service in the NATO mission in Kosovo. The American Embassy statement notes that since 2004, Armenia has been consistently represented in the NATO Kosovo force, demonstrating its commitment to regional peace and stability. Armenia continues to be the largest non-NATO contributor to the Kosovo force, surpassing several NATO and EU member states. This consistent approach underscores Armenia's role as a reliable partner in regional security operations and its readiness to work alongside elite forces, the statement said. By decree of the President of the Republic of Armenia, Lilit Makunds has been recalled from the post of Armenia's Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to the United States and will soon be appointed Chief Advisor to the Prime Minister. Narek Bakirchan, who had previously been dismissed from the post of Minister of Labor and Social Affairs, will travel to the United States. The name of the new minister is already known. Arsen Torosyan, who resigned his parliamentary mandate a few days ago, will be appointed minister. Do you know where the Nobel Prize Fund comes from, or which U.S. presidents have received this award? Peace begins with a smile. This was Mother Teresa's formula for peace, as well as spreading love wherever she was. The #1 advocate for establishing peace and a world in recent months is the 47th U.S. President Donald Trump, as I usually call him, the Dove of Peace, among whose Nobel Prize guarantors is also Armenia. Discoveries about the Nobel Prize from the distant past.
The discussion of news about the nomination of United States President Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize is gaining additional excitement from the honorary award contender himself. The history of the award is much deeper and multi-layered. It also contains an Armenian trace which dates back to the 19th century Baku oil fields. The annual International Nobel Prizes are awarded to individuals who have brought the greatest benefit to humanity in various fields. It was established by the Swedish inventor and entrepreneur Alfred Nobel in 1895, and the first prizes were awarded in 1901. Traditionally, the prizes are awarded in the fields of physics, chemistry, medicine or physiology, literature, and the strengthening of peace. Since 1969, at the initiative of the Bank of Sweden, a prize in economics is also awarded in memory of Alfred Nobel. The laureate receives a gold medal, a diploma, and a large monetary award. The monetary awards come from the interest on Nobel's financial inheritance. In recent years, the award for one prize has reached $1 million. The Peace Prize is awarded in Oslo and the others in Stockholm. Besides the invention of dynamite, Baku oil was also at the heart of Nobel's enormous fortune. His brothers, Ludwig and Robert, had founded the world-renowned Nobel Brothers Petroleum Producing Company. However, the Baku oil arena was not their monopoly. Here, they had powerful competitors: Alexander Montashians, Pogos Gukashian, the Arafelian brothers, and other Armenian businessmen in whose hands most of the Baku oil fields were concentrated. In those years, Baku had become a stage for economic struggle where Armenian capital not only competed but also successfully held a dominant position, forcing the nobles to constantly fight for the protection of their capital. The Nobel Peace Prize has been awarded to 4 U.S. presidents throughout history. The first was Theodore Roosevelt, who was awarded in 1906 for mediating the peaceful end of the Russo-Japanese War. Woodrow Wilson received the award in 1919 for his role in the creation of the League of Nations. Jimmy Carter was awarded in 2002, decades after his presidency, for brokering peace between Israel and Egypt at Camp David. In 2009, Barack Obama received the Nobel Prize in his first year of presidency for his efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation among peoples. The 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald Trump, openly envying Barack Obama's Nobel Prize and considering him unworthy, has repeatedly stated that he too should become the 5th American president to receive this high award. According to Trump, he ended 6 wars in 6 months, which in his opinion is sufficient grounds for the award. The Nobel Committee should recognize Trump as the most outstanding candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize of all time. Trump was also nominated for the Peace Prize in 2018 for his efforts to reconcile North and South Korea, but the Nobel Committee did not confirm those nominations. Earlier this year, when Trump had not yet been sworn into office, the Nobel Committee removed his name due to his involvement in numerous criminal cases. Perhaps the most resonant nomination was the statement made on August 8th at the White House, which was met with thunderous applause.
So maybe we agree with Prime Minister Pashinyan to send a joint appeal to Nobel Committee to award President Trump with the Nobel Peace Prize because...
A day before Aliyev, Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet had fallen for quickly preventing a military clash with Thailand.
I also extended my deep appreciation to President Donald Trump.
Trump's role in ending the India-Pakistan 5-day war is also considered. From the day after his inauguration, Trump has been striving to earn the laurels of the figure who ended the war in Ukraine, but so far in vain. Monica Haroyan, ReOpen Media.
Yesterday, the Armenian newsfeed featured a sensational statement by Netanyahu recognizing the Armenian genocide. Let's look at the form of Netanyahu's expression of sympathy and his statement in the context of the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza and this report.
You don't ask us to put
During an interview with famous Armenian-American podcaster Patrick Bet-David, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu suddenly decided to recognize the Armenian genocide.
Why haven't you yet recognized the Armenian, Assyrian, and the Greek genocide that the Turkish did to that community?
In fact, I think we have, because I think the Knesset passed a resolution to that effect.
I don't know if it's come from you, though. I don't know if it's come from the Prime Minister of Israel.
Yeah, I just did.
Okay.
Here you go.
All right. Well, thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate you. That's important to me. And I'm sure a lot of Armenians, Assyrians, and Greeks around the world appreciate you saying that.
For years, Israel considered Ankara its main trading and sometimes security partner. A few weeks ago, the first debate on the recognition of the genocide was held in the Knesset. The majority had expressed support for recognition, but the issue was never put to a vote. Even former Israeli President Reuven Rivlin, who was in favor of recognition, did not take an official step. Netanyahu's admission was quickly followed by a reaction from the Turkish Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Netanyahu's statement about the 1915 events is an attempt to manipulate painful events of the past for political motives. Netanyahu, who stands accused of genocide against the Palestinian people, is trying to cover up the crimes committed by him and his government.
The Armenian National Committee of America, which has fought for decades for the recognition of the genocide in the United States, has not only not expressed satisfaction with Netanyahu's statement, but considers it an attempt to cover up his own crimes. The executive director of the office, Aram Hampirian, believes that concrete actions are necessary for sincerity. In 2021, Turkey appointed its former ambassador to Washington, Serjar Kılıç, as a special representative in negotiations for the normalization of relations with Armenia. Ruben Rubinyan was delegated from Armenia for this task. In March of this year, Prime Minister Pashinyan announced at a press conference in Yerevan that the normalization of relations between his country and Turkey is a matter of time. To date, 34 governments have recognized the Armenian genocide. Ani Hovhannisyan, ReOpen Media.
And Nikol Pashinyan also referred to Netanyahu's statement on the recognition of the genocide. Let's hear what Nikol Pashinyan says on the opposite side of the enthusiasm or the flip side of the coin.
So many countries have recognized the Armenian genocide, right? Now let's address and take stock of what the Armenian people, the Republic of Armenia, has gained from it. What have we gotten out of it? So our genre, our thing, our goal is to give others the opportunity to use our martyrs as a means of payment in geopolitical trade. I have spoken about this topic with many of our international partners, including I wanted to understand in some countries, of course not all, but in some countries, I have even told the leaders of those countries about it. Why do you, for example, recognize the Armenian genocide? I want to understand your motivation. It is obvious to me that in a significant number of cases, that motivation is simply to get 3,000 or 10,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 more votes in elections. And that has nothing to do with the state interests of the Republic of Armenia, with the interests of the people of Armenia.
While the first Prime Minister of Israel in history recognized the Armenian genocide, a number of Armenian organizations in Jerusalem raised an alarm about the new danger of losing a well-known plot of land in the Armenian quarter. Historic Jerusalem has 4 quarters: Jewish, Muslim, Christian, and a separate Armenian one, as you see in my background. For 2 years now, the local Armenian community has been trying to prevent the creeping appropriation of a part of the Armenian quarter. According to a contract signed by the Patriarchate, a luxurious hotel is to be built on a large section of the Armenian quarter. There is also a lease issue here. The Israeli company is leasing the area for 98 years under the contract, and there is an alarm from the Armenian side. A more dangerous deal is being prepared. Konstantin Zatulin, a deputy of the Russian State Duma, stated that by calling the Ukrainian conflict a Russian invasion, Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev took an anti-Russian step. As for the recognition of Ukraine's territorial integrity, here Aliyev is not sinning against the truth. Azerbaijan adopted this position even after the return of Crimea. It just wasn't voiced so persistently then as it is now. From the very beginning, Baku adopted a position different from ours, sometimes even hostile. Over time, we began to notice this, although we should have noticed it from the very beginning, said Zatulin, according to whom considering Azerbaijan a partner state is a misunderstanding. And now here are a few brief news items from the international news feed. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will travel to China next week on a rare foreign visit to attend a military parade in Beijing. The parade will be attended by 26 foreign leaders, including Russian President Putin, Belarusian President Lukashenko, and Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan. The parade will be preceded by the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi told the Financial Times that Tehran is still ready for negotiations with the United States, but only if Washington guarantees that no military actions will be taken during the dialogue. And the number of victims of the massive Russian drone and missile attacks on the Ukrainian capital early Thursday morning has reached 8, with more than 20 people injured. According to local authorities, the attack affected more than 20 districts of Kyiv, damaging about 100 buildings. Zelensky has called for a stricter anti-Russian sanctions. This much for today. I'm Sona Tumanyan. Goodbye.